Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. It's issue 646 of Geek in a City Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Duran.
I'm one of your other hosts, Spinarita.
And I am your other host, Cable Hashitani.
And this is artificial energy I'm using. Hey.
Is that like 5-hour energy? Does it come in a little bottle?
Man. So I took a 5-hour energy once. And I thought I was going to die. It was at Stumptown, the last Stumptown. So, Cable, like you're tired because we've been organizing a comic book show and running a nonprofit comic foundation. Also, I had a comic out that weekend, and the person I was working with at the time was like, "Here, I use these every day. You should use one." And I'm a coffee drinker. I have 2 to 3 cups of coffee on average in the morning. Maybe a nice iced latte around noon if I'm feeling it. I was like, "Hey, man, thanks. What a good idea." And I just shot the whole thing. I felt awful. Like I was jittery. Like I couldn't quit bouncing. I'm pretty sure I was averaging like 130 beats a minute of my heart. I was like, ah. And it gave me energy. It did not give me focus.
No.
It just made me a fucking basket case.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he said, I was like, how do you do this every day? And he's like, well, I never drink it all at once. I was like, that's what every commercial shows. They tell you to drink it all. Yeah.
I mean, they're only like this big. Are you not supposed to drink it all at once?
I don't know.
Or like
I mean,
in a couple sips. Like I imagine it's like an espresso. Like you don't necessarily like shoot it, but it's only so many sips worth, and you're not supposed to take all day with it.
Don't tell me how to drink my espresso.
Is that how you drink your espresso? You just like slam it? Okay. I'm
mean,
not actually like a connoisseur of nice coffee drinks, so this is all presumptive. I don't.
I mean, you don't shoot espressos, but you don't drink them slowly either.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I think you do with a 5-hour energy shot. It's even called shots.
I know. I think you're supposed to drink them kind of quickly, and also, a lot of people don't realize this. Espressos do not have as much caffeine as you think they do.
They don't.
Because the darker the roast, the lower the caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
That's why whenever I hear someone be like, "Oh man, I'm gonna have this extra dark roast. It'll be so much caffeine," I'm like, "It's going to be less caffeine."
That's why we usually stick with medium roasts.
Yeah.
I didn't believe that the roast type was an indicator of caffeine levels. I thought that was just about flavor.
It's also that.
Yeah. I feel like the espresso roast, unless you're making espresso and you want that nice kind of what they call it, the crema top or whatever that's on them, I think that kind of ruins the flavor of like good coffee beans. Like Cable, like a good medium roast that's where you get the flavor and the nuance.
I mean, I'll not to make it seem like I'm putting on airs or anything. I'm basically at a point where I'm about to take it intravenously on a regular basis. So I'm not a coffee snob by any means.
Oh no! I mean, sometimes you just gotta.
Fuel.
Yeah, you just gotta get it.
Yep.
It was like when.
No, go ahead. Tell your story.
I'm just saying, I think they still have them like in 7-Elevens or probably plaid pantries. The what are they called? They're like Smol or Smoke or Stoke. They're the same size as like the little like creamer packets, but they're just little black shots of caffeine. And they even say like warning, limit 1. Like who only uses 1 when they go to plaid pantry and gets that 16-ounce coffee? You're like a 1, a 2. No. A 3.
I've never seen those.
Oh, they're wonderful.
It is at a truck stop, so
that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if 7-Elevens or Plaid still have them, honestly, but yeah, Tweaker's Delight. That's what we used to call them when I worked at Zipcar. When I worked at Zipcar, we were like, I was like, I'm gonna run into Plaid and get a soda. And if I was working with somebody that day or for a little bit, he's like, grab me a handful of them Tweaker's Delights. I'm like, all right. The people at Plaid didn't care. What do they care? You take it.
It's not their job to regulate your caffeine intake.
That's true. Yeah.
If a 15-year-old me can go into a Walgreens and buy a fistful of caffeine pills, I expect that the burden of supervision for someone who works at a Plaid pantry is even lower.
That is probably very true. Yes. I was trying to imagine you like, what's her name from Saved by the Bell?
I'm so excited.
I'm
so scared. I've actually never seen that. Oh, that's not that whole episode. I'm sure I've at least watched the scene, but
I haven't either.
That was not my show.
I've seen, like you, I've seen the scene, but not the episode. I've seen the scene many times. Oh, man. No Doze. Oh, yeah. I remember those days. Being a theater nerd, we just used to put them like in our Jolt colas. You just all one in a Jolt.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. That and some cookie and some raw cookie dough. Ooh. It's just living on the edge when you're a theater kid.
Theater kids just didn't. We didn't know any better.
That's true. Oh, Norm says as a coffee enthusiast, he makes his own cold brew. Well, that's good. I do that too. It's delicious.
I inherited a cold brew machine, like a cold brewer. I don't know.
What does it do?
It makes cold brew. I don't know yet. I haven't used it because it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not the time of year where I don't want hot coffee in the morning.
Oh, all right. That's fair. Sometimes I like the cold stuff, even when it's a little chilly out, because I can just chug it. Which I guess negates the idea of enjoying the coffee, you know? So. Kay was looking at us like, you're both just such children.
No, that's not. That is not it at all.
I don't feel like I need coffee or caffeine like Cable in that sort of like I'm ready to go intravenous with it. I'm not gonna say like I can live without caffeine because I don't know if that's true. I just feel like I'm not diehard about coffee where I'm like I have to have coffee every day. I would probably actually prefer tea, but it's like a whole nother process, and I'm not in charge of making things in the morning. So
no, then you get what you get.
No, I'm the kind of person who, it takes me 4 hours to drink one mug of coffee because I'm distracted by other things. I'm working.
That's fair. Yeah.
In my early 30s, I started developing some sort of acid reflux or ulcerous issues with my digestive tract, and had to go. I couldn't drink coffee. I think I gave up coffee for like 2 years.
Oh no.
Yep. And then strangely, the acid reflux just went away.
That happens. I actually used to have acid reflux as a kid. And now I can't remember the last time I had an attack.
But
I think I gave up coffee for a little while once, thinking like, I should, wean off the caffeine a little bit. And that didn't last very long.
It was way easier for me to cut out soda on a regular basis out of my life.
That's what I did. I think I can count on like one hand how many times I have soda like a month. And not even that much now that I think about it.
I think my max is about 2.
Yeah.
No, 3 a month.
And it's usually because I'm at, usually because I'm at like the movies and I want, I want a soda and a popcorn. I want salt and sugar.
Yeah.
And
if you go to a place where you can mix your own soda,
oh yeah,
then I can just get plain soda, like no flavor.
Yeah.
Or just anything that's not cola.
Mm-hmm.
I like making the. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say I largely when it's a name brand, I have switched almost entirely to Dr. Pepper
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
after both doing Pepsi and then Coke for many years. Not that Coke, the other Coke.
Right.
I used to love Dr. Pepper, but it's even sweeter than Coke. So I mean, it is a better flavor because there's all those other like spices and whatnot. But I just like when I drink, especially if it's like a straight Coca-Cola, not a Diet Coke. I'm like, oh, so indulgent. It's like just like I could feel the sugar just like ripping through my body.
Mhm.
The taste is almost overwhelming.
So I have to read something from Norm in the chat box here. I agree with him. I
Oh.
don't drink Bang because Bang is owned by an ultra mega douchebag. But I didn't know they made one that came in Swedish fish flavor.
Ah, shit.
I mean, I still won't do it,
But I want to now.
but I want to now. Yeah.
He says it's not Bang that comes, it's something called Ghost Energy.
Oh.
It says, if you
Oh, I
need an
should've-
energy drink, go with Ghost Energy. It is better than Bang, but comes in Swedish fish flavor, and that's the best.
Okay, so
Okay, I read that. Okay.
don't drink Bang. Do try Ghost.
That's right.
I guess if I'm ever like, I don't know, it's been years, but if I'm craving or finding myself in need of an energy drink, I will try to remember.
The children that I work with drink those all the goddamn time, and I just don't understand. Like, I am not an energy drink person.
They have a super artificial flavor to them.
I mean, I drank a lot of energy drinks in my 20s.
But that was
but they
that
were
was Army
different
days
then.
too, right?
Yes. This was hard work. Oh God, I'm about to say like,
Do it.
you know,
Do
go
it.
work hard, play hard. But no, like, yeah, like jobs were very labor intensive for me back then, and also like I never slept because I was always partying.
Right. I mean, that's also understandable to where I know that, you know, even by what you said, it's not like you were like on front lines, but there was still the chance of being blown up.
Yeah, I did
So
a
it's
lot of
like,
I did
fuck
some
it.
hard dissociating.
Right. Yeah. That's understandable.
Although I meant in general, not specifically when I was overseas,
Oh, well, okay.
because that's the lifestyle.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. Hey. Caffeine talk on Keegan City Radio.
Woo!
Yeah, that
Although,
was
man,
a
I want a
weird
coffee so bad
segue.
right now.
Yeah, I kind of do too. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to because I will eventually want to go to bed.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
true. I
already
will do that.
difficult enough as it is.
This is also true for me. Yay!
I was playing with a
medication.
new magic coffee mug this afternoon, and so I had a late mug of coffee, and I am also concerned now.
What is it? Magic.
They're
Is it
called
magic?
Ember mugs. I've been wanting one for a long time, but they're kind of pricey, so I've never, you know, indulged myself in that. But there's an extra one at the office that I have just again inherited, and so like you hook it up to your app, and it reads when the cup is empty, when the cup is full, and you can like pick different settings. Like you can just pick like the default coffee setting, and it sets it to the ideal temperature for coffee, and it keeps your coffee at that temperature until the mug is empty.
What?
Yes. And like I said earlier, I'm the kind of person who will forget their cup for like 3 hours because I'm doing this, so I don't
Mhm.
have this. Yeah, it's magic.
Does it have like its own batteries or something?
Yeah, it's
okay.
it works. It has a little charging pad, like wireless charging. So that works through induction, and then it's got an internal battery that lasts for however many hours.
Okay, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
They have a travel mug, and now that I've like actually seen the magic, firsthand, I'm like, okay.
You do like your drinking apparatus.
I
That's
do.
true.
Yes.
To-
Although I will never buy another Hydrate Spark water bottle again. They got me twice, and I'm just like, nope, done. You're dead to me.
I mean, you used to yell at your bottle when it lit up.
because
I remember
no,
this.
the bottle was yelling at me.
You would yell back at it like, "I know."
I mean, I yell at most of my things when they're nagging me. I'm like, all right, I got it. I see you.
I'm looking at the Ghost Energy website. Geek in the City Radio does not. This is not an advertisement for Ghost Energy. We are not. This is not an endorsement. They do have flavors that are like intriguing. Like there's citrus, there's tropical mango, there's orange cream. Those are all good. But they also have Airheads, 2 flavors of Sour Patch Kids, strawberry bubblicious, and Swedish Fish.
Those monsters. I went to their site now too.
Yep. So,
well, Sour Patch Kids, that's kind of your jam, isn't it?
I enjoy the Sour Patch Kids. I don't know what candy is my jam other than the candy that I have right in front of me at the moment. To be blunt. It's like, or not blunt, but to be, if honest. I'm going to be honest with myself as well as everyone else, I have been trying to, like, I want a candy at home, I want a sweet at home. I try to keep around a bag of soft licorice.
Alien or black?
Black.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm definitely 100% a black licorice person. The kind that I have right now is raspberry flavored, actually. I think it's raspberry. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on like the salted hard licorice that those Nordic people love so much?
Damn, I couldn't get enough of that stuff.
No. Oh my god,
so
it's
good.
So gross.
Mm-hmm.
Man, next time we all go to Astoria. Next time we go to Astoria, we just take you to that what is it? That Norwegian store.
Okay.
They got that entire like mini section of all the different kinds of licorice with salt and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I don't know, my dad goes nuts for black licorice, and it's something that I got introduced to when I was young. Like red vine black licorice and over the counter candy. That stuff is not great. But when you find good black licorice, god damn, it's good.
I cannot. I've tried and I just cannot.
No, it's fine. And I think it's like, I don't know that it's exactly like cilantro for folks, but I do think that it has that same effect where people are like, they either really like anise or they just fucking don't.
I mean, I do like anise and like generally like the flavor of licorice, but those black licorice ones, especially if they're salted, are so intense. I think it's an acquired taste, and so I have not built up that level of tolerance / acceptance.
Yeah. Norms. And then we'll get to the real show today. Norms, anyone tried those Australian licorice?
That's my favorite. I love Australian licorice.
It's just so thick and chewy. You're like,
they're like really dense.
This is the brand that I do. It's an Australian licorice. RJ's is the brand. Oh, this is actually New Zealand. Sorry, New Zealand. I didn't mean to confuse you. But they do a raspberry, a black licorice, and then a mango.
Now I also have the munchies.
I just buy like, I don't know, whatever is in the bulk section at my grocery store. But my favorite, more than licorice, is gummy bears.
Same.
Bears. But like the fancy ones made with like real fruit juice.
Do you like the gooey and the squishy bears that are a little sticky, or do you like the really hard, have to suck on them for like a good 20 minutes to get them to soften up?
Yes.
Like the Germans.
Yeah.
I will accept both the like soft fresh and the like harder drier ones.
Yeah.
But
I like the ones that make me work for it a little bit.
I'm not going to say that is the correct answer, but it is the superior answer.
I would say that, like, you know, like gun to my head, I have a preference for like, again, like the really high quality ones where they're fresh and they're almost kind of greasy feeling, but they still have a good amount of density to them. So they're not just like going down my gullet.
Yeah, they've got that that sheen on them that comes from like the deterioration of the gelatin. Yeah.
Deterioration. Yeah, I have in fact, I have like a 5-pound bag of World's Best in my pantry right now. I mean, I've been working at it for a while, but like
No,
that's
say
how.
that's a lot of self control to not just destroy one.
It depends on whether or not I've had an edible. No, it's 5 pounds of gummy bears is a lot of gummy
That's
bears.
a lot
y'all.
of gummy bears.
It's true.
I think you might be hospitalized if you made like a real dent in one sitting.
Yeah, that's not good for you.
But like,
Yeah,
if I'm like going hard, that's like 2 handfuls.
Going hard on the bears.
So
Wow.
I think
okay.
that is an actual dramatization, like a very, very accurate replica of what it looks like when I eat gummy bears, you guys.
That's right.
Okay.
Sometimes every once in a while, because I'll need a really weird chuckle.
Mhm.
I like to go onto Amazon and look at the reviews of the red sugar-free gummy bears when people buy too many and eat them. Because
I was
it's
just
sweetened
reminded
with-
of that the other day.
yeah, because it just goes right through you and sends people into a panic because they forget that they had a bunch of sugar-free red gummy bears. And
Oops.
I was like, I worked at Walmart when those Olestra chips first came out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh man, and Walmart was like big on it. Like they like carried more of those Olestra. I think Lay's did it first or whatever.
Mhm.
Ooh
Mhm.
man, the horrors I saw. I had never been more happy to not be a courtesy clerk during that era. That's all I'll say. Oh,
Ugh.
they still
Yeah,
make
when
that.
people started discovering that anal leakage was a feature and not a bug.
They even had to put it on the bag, sir.
Yes, they did.
Oh my
On
God.
the bag, they had to put that warning on there. I mean, people shouldn't leak to begin with without some kind of control. But I think out of all the places one can do that, that's the worst spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I keep being like one phrase away from just ranting about the state of everything, and I'm trying desperately.
Oh,
not to
don't.
do
Yeah.
that.
Otherwise, I'll get going. Instead, let's go from. No, you know what? I'm going to hold back on that segue joke.
Maybe let's just insert a break right here, and then we'll just.
You know what? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and screen cap this so I get the timestamp really well. And we'll be right back. And we're back. I'm sure those sponsors were really happy that
If
that
you
was
stayed,
their lead in.
yeah. If you, I'm glad all you folks stuck with us after that brisk and bracing
Yeah.
opening conversation. We
Yeah.
did that for half an hour.
We did. We kind of had one of those behind the bastard moments when he's saying something horrible and then rolls right into products.
Great.
No, don't give him credit for that. We started that. If anything, he got it from us.
That is true. He probably heard an early episode of this when we had Asylum commercials.
Yes.
And we were talking about them being Portland's, what was it?
Jockstrap?
Yeah, but I thought we made it sound fancier. It was like Portland's decorative jockstrap or something like that.
I mean, a jockstrap is a jockstrap.
Portland's mid-century athletic supporter.
That's right.
Mid-century modern athletic supporter. That's
for all your needs.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about some kid shows.
Oh, fucking God. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've gone a few weeks without talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes.
And I think we're gonna go back and visit those kids and find out where they're at.
Oh boy.
I think we are at episodes 9 and 10 from season 2. We're still in the Earth Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when last we talked about Avatar, the the group had just gained Toph, who is a young girl from Money, happens to be blind, and also the most badass earthbender. And she has been taken on as Aang's earthbending teacher.
Yes.
The description for episode 9. Episode 9 is bitter work. Aang begins to learn earthbending from Toph. Uncle Iroh resumes teaching Zuko firebending to better prepare him for facing Azula, and reveals a new technique he learned from watching waterbenders. Now, oh, that's right. We did have a couple episodes from when Toph joined, because the Azula cornered everybody in the desert. I think the last episode that we reviewed, I thought Azula had actually killed Iroh.
Right.
Because I didn't put it past this show or that particular character.
No, that's totally fair. And he's still pretty bandaged up, so.
Yes. I'll do my best. I watched this back when we were supposed to review it, and that was like 3 weeks ago.
Well, I actually watched both of them again this afternoon. Like, I made sure to have it.
I did too, but I was not in a position to write notes, so it's a little goosey goosey.
So it's really just kind of a parallel training episode.
Mm-hmm.
With both of them, both Zuko and Aang, kind of just having to continually learn lessons about themselves.
And struggle.
And Zuko's is still clearly the more angsty struggle. But I think he has a bigger breakthrough here towards the end of it. When he's basically screaming at the sky to like strike him. So that
literally
he can,
screaming into the void.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he can do lightning bend, which I think, Cable, you brought this up before, and I'm kind of with you. I still don't understand the connection between fire bending and creating lightning.
Uncle Iroh actually says something along the lines of like, lightning is this and that, and that's why some people call it the cold-blooded fire. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
I know, that's how I felt. I was like, I get what you're going for, but I don't see it.
I'm gonna make this worse. So in doing our Usagi role-playing game, I do deep dives down all kinds of weird feudal Japan rabbit holes. That pun is partially intended. And I was reminded of something about elements, and then recognized its relation to the show and went, so hang on a second. So Avatar is based on multiple Asian cultures.
Right.
And they borrow heavily from all of them. And they have nations based on the 4 elements. Except Asian cultures don't have 4 elements. They have 5. Air isn't one of them.
Right.
Oh.
It's
wood and metal.
Elements? Wood and metal, right?
Fire, earth, water, metal, and wood. Those are the 5 elements.
Mm-hmm.
So, now my brain keeps watching Avatar going, wait, there wouldn't be any air nation. There wouldn't be airbenders. Fuck.
Yeah.
And yet that's kind of like the primary, that's like the titular element.
Yep.
Yeah.
But those are Western elements.
Right.
Those were the elements that Western cultures adopted. So
yeah, you're right. That is worse.
So I don't. Sure, lightning is related to fire. Well,
I mean, I know part of me is like, lightning makes more sense for an airbender because you charge the particles in the air and create lightning.
This is right? Where I sure.
I know I'm trying to put science into this show, but No,
it's why I tend to appreciate Ninjago's direction with elemental warriors. Like Ninjago also heavily based on Asian cultures without actually being Asian. They managed to be more diverse for characters who were all yellow. Anyway,
It's just because okay.
That's the whole point. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's a different rabbit hole. I have Lego news at the end of the show. But like they have fire and earth and water, and then they also have ice and lightning.
Mm-hmm. As
And
like
then
advanced.
as separate elements.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So those are their 5 elements. They actually have 6. The 6th element is life. Because the green ninja, Lloyd Garmadon, his elemental power is essentially to give additional energy to all of the other elemental powers. So he's the element of love or heart. That was the one from Captain Planet. So
Right. Yeah.
No, love is the 5th element.
Yes, that's true.
In the 5th element.
Yeah. Or it's just Mila Jovovich.
Yeah.
I'll accept that answer.
She's been playing a killer clone that takes out entire zombie armies for like over a decade. I'm not going to tell her to do anything.
Yeah, I'm not going to
She
tell
can
her
do
to
whatever she wants.
Nope.
Yeah, but I mean, episode 9 was perfectly serviceable.
Yes. Back to the
It's
episode.
yeah, it's just let's move this. It felt like a let's move the story forward
Mm-hmm.
kind of episode.
I mean, it did have a lesson, you know, like first there was the stuff about like Toph needing to learn how to like be part of a team. And now this episode was like Toph needing to learn that different people need different learning, you know, everyone has different learning styles and or like learn to be just like even a smidge more empathetic.
Oh, I didn't take that. She learned that lesson at all. That
Yeah,
was
no,
the
I feel
lesson
like
that
she was
learned.
supposed to. She did end up, but ultimately she did manipulate the situation the way she wanted to manipulate the situation. But I felt like that's what she was supposed to have learned is like, hey, maybe try meeting this kid halfway.
Yeah, I felt more strongly that the lesson that was supposed to have been learned was the lessons that Aang learned, which was not everything is going to come easy. And that he needed to change, like he actually needed to change how he thought. As he pointed out, it's like earthbending and airbending are the two opposites, or one of the two opposites, fire and water being the other.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's easy for him to learn waterbending because that makes sense. That's adjacent. Same with firebending. He's good at firebending. It's just unmanageable because it's an adjacent skill. Earthbending requires to be solid and it requires stasis, where air is constantly adapting and constantly moving.
Yeah.
So that that was like Katara tried to get Toph to change her approach, and Toph was like, I can't.
This is the only way I know it.
He has to learn to do this. I can't tell him, no, you can just do it like airbending. You can't. Otherwise, you don't learn it.
You're right. I didn't see it that way, but that is the takeaway. The intended takeaway.
Yep. I think, don't get me wrong, I do think Toph has lessons that she needs to learn, and she has her own stubbornness to get across. So she has to learn to be more flexible and less stable. Because that's all that she knows is the stability of rock. And I think the upcoming episodes start to put her in a direction where she can go, well, I have to rely on something else because everything that I know is fucking gone.
Right.
But yeah, I do agree with Aaron. It was a episode of training montages designed to kind of do a little story, but more character development along.
mhm.
Yeah. I mean, that makes it it's not a bad thing.
No, it's still a fine episode.
It just means there's not a lot to discuss.
Right.
And the stuff with Zuko kind of mirrors that.
Yeah.
His experience, I think, was a lot more existential.
Mm-hmm.
He's like I wouldn't call it like rock bottom, but he is like really going through some shit right now. It's just kind of like one hit after another, and like these are his new formative years right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is definitely true.
I know it happens eventually, but I keep waiting for that moment for like his uncle to actually get through to him. And all I keep thinking is like, this uncle has just the most infinite patience in the world.
Once we to fast forward a bit, once you actually see the wall of Ba Sing Se, that starts to give you a better idea of like, oh, that's why.
Yeah,
he's
no,
infinitely patient.
Right. Yeah.
That's what made him a good general.
Right. But it's a fun episode. I'm a sucker for any kind of like training montages.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, kind of what it felt like. The little B plot with
Zuko
Sokka,
and the
Sokka getting
Sokka.
Yeah, I'm like, it's cute, but okay, fine. I was gonna say it felt a lot like the last time like Aang was being forced to use his full avatar powers. It always seems to rely on he's never going to be defending himself to use his powers. It's only when he put his friends in jeopardy that he uses stuff apart from like airbending. It's always going to be, I've got to put a friend in danger for him to kind of activate it. And
yep.
And I think that's a good quality for him to have. As in, like, I don't necessarily see that as a detriment, because if his ultimate goal is to save the world, he needs to feel motivated by helping others, not just, versus like himself.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, it's fine. I think I had a little more fun with the next episode.
And the next episode is episode 10, The Library. When he learns that there is a lost library with all the knowledge in the world, Sokka convinces the others to seek it out in hopes of finding a weakness of the Fire Nation.
Yes.
Which I appreciated that this mission was Sokka's idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's Sokka, isn't it?
It's Sokka, isn't it?
Yeah, Sokka and Zuko. They're
Sokka.
I always say Sokka because my brain defers to Ahsoka.
Yes, that's it.
So
that's what it is.
That's why my brain always wants to call her Sokka. Ah, damn it. You know what I
Sokka.
Sokka. When the walls fell.
No, that's a little too much on the A.
Oh, okay.
It's like Sokka, like your socks on your feet.
Right. I just like the episode because it kind of gives shades of like, oh, this is like a role-playing game. This episode, they have a quest, they have a mission. Shenanigans happen, and they do the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the DM's like, all right, I guess I'm sinking the temple, the library, you jackasses.
I mean,
I'm also going to kidnap Appa. Show you.
Oh, Appa.
That was rough, actually. Even though I know in the end Appa's going to be okay. It's still rough.
No spoilers, Cable.
I
was ahead of our, our conversations briefly, but that time has passed. So
I am now. I've watched episodes 11, 12, and 13, and like I said earlier, 12 and 13 just played together as if it were one episode, which I thought was very strange. But
yeah,
it also thematically fit. So I've watched, but I've ended up jumping ahead further than that. and looking at IMDb, it's gonna be a minute before we know what happened to Appa.
Yeah, I know that.
This is actually, I think one of the things that I liked about this episode is this was the beginning of the group has been fairly untouched by adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've had problems and we've seen Aang react badly to things when he feels like something is actually going to make his life hard. And starting with this episode, their lives get very adverse.
Mm-hmm.
And it does not bring out the best in any of them.
I hadn't really.
Which I think is going to... It gives us more room for character exploration. The next few episodes, you'll see what I'm talking about.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, you can tell that like the stakes are starting to get higher.
Mm-hmm.
I had not put any thought into like, oh, that's gonna like test their dynamic, their relationships to one another. But I guess that makes sense because they're kind of always doing that, right? Like first it was, the original three learning to get along and be a team, and then Toph comes into play, and now if like more shit is going to hit the fan more often, of course, like they aren't, even if they were a well-oiled machine, so to speak, that's like no one gets out of hardships unscathed. So it would make sense that like they haven't hit some sort of like platonic ideal of teamwork and
right.
Friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, which is great because man, that not that I want to see them go. Like I don't want to see people have to go through hardships, but I do understand that within the context of this is a dramatic show and things are done for dramatic intent. These characters, if we don't see them have to deal with real hardship, then we aren't going to see them change.
Yeah.
And
there's that slight theme of change also, like the hinting of what's to come with their encounter with Wan Shi Tong, the librarian, basically, where he's such a cool design, by the way. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But he's basically like, I am the keeper of knowledge. You're obviously humans, which means you're not allowed in here because humans cannot be trusted with knowledge. Clearly agrees to it. So I can imagine, Wan Shi Tong's head. It's like, all right, this is okay. It's been a while, so
let's give it a shot.
Oh, humans. The first ones I let in so long. And yep, first thing you do is look up how to wage war and break my main rule. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we knew they were lying when they went in.
Yeah, we knew they were lying, but, from the perspective of, Wan Shi Tong, he probably assumed they were going to lie too, but
I think also we needed to see them. This still gets to that theme of how they handle adversity. We needed to see them have to deal with actual consequences of their actions, because usually they figure out a way to charm themselves out of it. Sokka stole information after explicitly saying he wasn't going to, and they were almost all killed because of it. The person that helped them find the place did die because he remained in the library.
Right.
It's like, yeah, that man is dead.
Yeah, this is the first time they really have to deal with consequences.
Mm-hmm. And then added to that is they come out of everything and Appa has been kidnapped. Bison napped. Stolen.
Bison, yeah.
Bison
he's an air buffalo. No.
He's an air bison.
Right, it is bison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like it's like, okay, like I loved your analogy, Aaron. The this is a D&D party. and
Yeah.
they made all the wrong decisions in the Tomb of Annihilation. And when they came back out, all of their horses were dead. Someone had
Right,
stolen
it's
half
the-
of their supplies, and they didn't even get and they got the wrong treasure. They got the one that has the curse on it.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it the same way. Like they got in the dungeon, screwed up, but thought they were getting away with what they wanted. Get out and realize, oh, this isn't what we actually needed. And they look down like, oh, and the village is on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Our bad.
I'm
And there's
trying
no
to see
leveling
if-
up.
trying to see if Dave Filoni had anything to do with this episode, but he did
No,
not.
he
Nope.
didn't.
No.
He's not on the next grip. He's not on the next 3 either. And they're rough.
Well, and he only has directorial credits for like 10 or 11 episodes out of the whole thing. So
Well, I think we're also getting to the time in Last Airbender where he's being pulled more and more into Star Wars stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that I'm trying to look at the date. 2006. Now I'm being super pedantic. So yeah, the animated. So the animated Clone Wars, the movie, is 2008. So it makes sense, but by now he's being courted for well, even more of that because animation takes so long. So he's probably spending way more time talking to them Lucas folks in this timeline. So
And the rest is history.
what am I hearing? What am I hearing in the background?
Hold on, it might be me. I'll be right back.
It kind of sounds like Christian.
It does. It sounds exactly like Christian.
Like he's placing an order, or is clearing something up on the phone.
Something. He is on the phone.
Yeah, da.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy the next couple episodes. I think we can probably just do like the next 2 episodes. Just do episodes 11 and 12.
Yeah, we can do that. Sure.
Yeah. I believe those are called The Desert, and then the other is The Serpent's Path.
Nice. So. Well, should we roll into some of our thoughts about Samurai Rabbit, the Usagi Chronicles?
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, it only hit me today that it's Samurai Rabbit, Usagi, Yojimbo. I didn't even like think about it. I was like, oh, obviously those are connected because the naming is because it says the Usagi Chronicles. I'm like, oh, look, it's an Usagi Yojimbo show. I'm like, oh, gotcha. Literally the same name. Cool.
Rabbit Bodyguard is what it translates into.
Yes. So this is a pretty big departure from Stan Sakai's comic.
Yeah, can we give a little?
Yeah. Go ahead. I guess not everyone knows.
So yeah. Not everyone is as obsessed as some of us.
I'm not obsessed, but
I was talking about myself.
I know. I'm trying to think though, like, because I'm about to think, well, who doesn't know Usagi Yojimbo? Like, even if you're not obsessed, if you were a casual Ninja Turtles fan, you eventually discovered this character, and maybe you didn't pursue the character more. I did. I was like, what is shit?
Yep.
Well, that's why you're a nerd.
I've been caught.
Let's start at the beginning here. Not the beginning.
Yeah, before
but
the
preface this
pandemic.
a little bit.
Yeah, before the pandemic even hit, Usagi Yojimbo has been a comic that's been actively produced by Stan Sakai for over 30 years. Netflix and he came to a deal a couple years ago, just before the pandemic, to make a cartoon not based on the comic, but using concepts and characters, because they didn't want to do a direct adaptation, which this show is not.
No.
So it's called Samurai Rabbit, the Usagi Usagi Chronicles. It debuted at the end of April. It is 10 episodes long. I don't know where you guys are at. I'm 4 episodes in.
I only got to watch the first one.
I
Sure.
did too, which they kind of belong together. It's sort of that classic, what? Not classic, but that thing that new animation does nowadays is the pilot is technically the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
saw the same thing with Star Trek Prodigy,
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
and I know others, but I'm not going to recall them right now. Yeah, so it seems like it's not a remake. It's not a modern version of the same thing. It is same universe, many years down the road.
Yeah, so Usagi, the Usagi Yojimbo comic takes place in the early 1600s, just after the Tokugawa shogunate has taken hold in Japan. The Battle of Sekigahara has happened, and that's when the shogunate took power and was in power until the 1900s. It's a long time. They so the story in the comic is centered around this rabbit named Miyamoto Usagi, who is a wandering samurai, and he has adventures, and it's all set in feudal Japan. But like Bean said, that's not where this show takes place. It's referenced, but it's not when it takes place.
Right.
Based on when the timeline that they keep giving, they haven't said a year, but this show takes place later than Star Trek.
Yeah, because I think they even call it Neo Edo.
Neo Edo. And
they do say they say
it's
1,000
1,000 years. Again, that was 1610.
Right.
So that would make this as 2610.
I hadn't really put any thought into that when they said it, but just now that you're mentioning, they did say 1,000 years. That's a long time from now.
Yeah, the second time they said, yeah, it's 1,000 years ago, I'm like, hang on a second.
And
this takes place between Picard and Discovery then. later than Picard.
Yeah.
There is like some talk about like ancestral stuff. I don't want to give too much away in case people don't want
I like how it uses the art to illustrate flashbacks. I think that's a pretty cool thing that they do.
That is my favorite thing in the whole show.
We can say that it cuts whenever it does a flashback. Essentially, it cuts to a more traditional from that era.
It feels like a Sumi Ink style.
Yeah,
and the illustrations are a combination of a Sumi Ink and the artwork of Stan Sakai. So
yeah,
the rest of the show is computer generated. So it's 3D, more like a Pixar movie. I think that the strength of this show is the fact that it is adapted from the works and not a direct adaptation of the comic. Because if it was a direct adaptation of the comic, then diehard fans of Usagi Yojimbo would find 3 million things to pick this show apart. Whereas this is a completely different story. This is anthropomorphic cyberpunk.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
And go ahead.
Well, I had that moment the first few minutes in because partially because I don't know how well Netflix has been advertising it, and maybe because I'm not in the demographic, I'm not seeing it.
Fair.
Netflix knows that I am a childless house, so why are they going to advertise on my algorithms kid shows? Quote unquote kid shows. So the first 5 minutes I was like, oh, this is not Usagi Yojimbo. And then I was like, well, not that Usagi, I consider that kind of an all ages comic, actually. I think it's pretty well, it'll deal with some more advanced thought, but it's not like a comic for adults. But I felt like if I was the age that this show is targeted to, this show is going to appeal to more than a quote proper adaptation of Stan Sakai's comic.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
this is very much intended for a new young audience
Yeah.
with still some nods to the original content.
Mhm.
In a way that I think is pretty well done. I'm not going to say it's a baby show for babies, but it is definitely a much younger demographic. It's not quite so all ages.
I actually do like Merrick and I had talked about this. I think this actually falls more under the category of all ages and family friendly than it does just kids show. Because
Yeah?
there's still some. I feel like there's some concepts that are kind of getting hinted at. But it's not like it certainly isn't as dumbed down as I've seen a lot of other animated series. Like I feel like it's on par with Prodigy in how it's
Sure.
handling some of its characterizations.
Right. And I think that Prodigy is like very much a show for like 10 to 12-year-olds. Maybe 8 to 12.
Geared at the lower end, yes.
Mhm.
But it's also like being watched by every Trekkie out there.
Right.
That's true.
That's
Yeah.
not a Trek bro.
Although I do agree, you're right. There's some themes around legacy that I think are going to be like pretty prominent throughout the whole series, and that can be pretty grown up.
Mhm.
So
Saying that your ancestor assassinated a shogun that's a thing, and is therefore vilified and hated 1,000 years later.
Right.
That's one of those. That's a lot. That's a lot.
It is.
it's a long time for people to be mad at you and everyone in your bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like that this show can potentially get kids then who maybe want to learn more as they get older, or even at the age they're watching it, you know, to maybe go look for like, well, where can I find more of this character? Well, you can go to your comic book shop. It's not this character exactly, but they're referencing this era.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, like they reference Miyamoto Usagi specifically.
That's true. Yeah.
It's like, if you want to know his real story, here it is.
Yeah.
And they do
In
a good
57
job.
volumes.
They've already like made that art style appealing by using it only for like some, you know, like objectively badass moments.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that like really keeps me from like loving this show is that, like, just like in Prodigy, the main character is this kind of shithead young lad who thinks he knows everything. He just thinks he's the fucking dog's bollocks and really isn't going to listen to what anyone else has to say.
I mean, maybe that's a trope / archetype for a reason, because maybe none of us remember what it was like to be a little punk ass 9-year-old who couldn't be told what to do.
That's fair. That's fair. It just makes it hard to watch.
Unless you're a little punk 9-year-old.
Once you get past to episode 2, you're fine.
Okay.
I'm 4 episodes in. Like, he's written that way specifically at the beginning so that he has room for growth.
Right. I know. And I mean, that's always the
because he
point
has to grow.
nowadays. Unless you're Caillou, the whole point is that you know, they're going to grow out of that archetype. But I'm like, I already did that. I'm like 30 something years away from having done that. So like, I really don't need to like live it out on TV. To me, it is not compelling. I am not the intended audience.
Sure. I do. One of the elements of the show that I did find not jarring, but took a moment to get used to, is the fact that while the lead character in this show is Yuichi, is that his name? I have it here in front of me.
I'll have to look it up on the IMDb's to get all the names again.
Nope, it doesn't give his name.
Yuichi Usagi.
Yes,
Yuichi,
which is really fucking confusing because it's like, okay, so like you said that you're a descendant of Miyamoto Usagi, and you say your name is Yuichi Usagi. You keep saying this like that's your first name and then your last name, and that's not. Miyamoto Usagi's first name is Usagi, and his family name is Miyamoto.
I mean, you can be a descendant from someone and have a different
This is true.
last name.
And that gets into a whole bunch of fucking plot points and spoilers in Usagi Yojimbo, as it is.
Yeah, and there might have been a real kind of just basic decision of like, this is a kid's show. We're not going to go into naming.
Just give him one name.
Give him one name.
Yep. But the three friends that he makes along the way that become part of his little crew are Gen, Kitsune, and Chizu, who are all characters from the comic.
Yeah.
Gen, the rhino, is in the comic is Murakami Genosuke, or Gen, who is another wandering samurai who works as a bounty hunter. He and Usagi have taken turns early in their relationship of stiffing each other for the other's bar bill. And keep running into each other over and over, and they just kind of pair up.
I know nothing about that in anything related to Usagi.
Nope.
My character would never do that to our samurai in the group.
Nope. Kitsune is a street performer who also wanders around. She uses fans and spinning tops. She's well known for telling stories, and she dances the tops along fans. It should also be noted that cases of stolen purses also increase every time that Kitsune moves into town. And then Chizu, I don't want to tell you who Chizu is. She's a cat in the comics.
Oh wait.
Because you'll figure that out in a few episodes.
See,
Cool.
folks, for full disclosure, also part of me and maybe Bean also, we can't tell if Cable doesn't want to tell us stuff because it'll spoil the show or the game he's running.
Spoil the show.
Okay. I was like,
okay.
wait a minute. Is he teasing us about what happened in our game?
No, I've already given you information in your game that is relevant to who Chizu is.
Oh, see?
See, now you know.
Okay.
Where's my notebook? Where's my game book?
This is what you get.
Dear listeners, this is what Bean and Aaron have to put up with every time I run an issue of our game for Usagi Yojimbo.
It's fun.
Yes, it is. Little Hashitani, the most thorough and diabolical DM I've ever worked with.
And she's played with me, so that's saying a lot.
I just love the world. It's a fun world to play in, and I think that that's also what's geared my head to really enjoy this show.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I'm not expecting it to be an adaptation of the comic. It is in the world, and in this case, like 1,000 years later in the world. But I've also read Space Usagi, so my head was kind of there already.
I always forgot there was Space Usagi also.
There was Space Usagi.
Yeah.
There was also Senso, which was a departure of, like, it was a timeline branch from the original comic, where like Usagi's an old man. Kids that were introduced in the comic are now adults, and it's essentially it's a War of the Worlds set in feudal Japan.
Oh, I gotta find those. I'm guessing
Yeah.
there's trades of them.
Awesome.
Yes, Senso, Senso.
That sounds righteous.
It's really good.
When did
So
Stan
fucking
officially make Usagi canon in the Ninja Turtles? Did he actually just cross over?
There
There had to have been something, because even Sakai said, nope, that happened.
Yeah, that I think that it happened in the comics before it happened in the TV show, I believe.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing him in the TV show.
Usagi Yojimbo?
Yeah, did he show up in the animated series and
He
I just
was
missed it?
Yes, he was in the original animated series. That's why there's an action figure of him.
Oh, I thought they just made the action figure just because I used to
That
have
must be the
action
reason
figure.
I always think there was a Usagi Yojimbo animated
Cartoon.
series, even
Yep.
though there never was, is because I probably
all right.
saw those Turtles episodes.
Yep.
There you go.
Usagi
Um,
crossovers in 2003 TMNT series. That can't be the earliest.
No.
That was
that.
That's the most recent. That was the last time they crossed over. It was while Usagi was being published by IDW.
1986.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Features a pinup by Stan Sakai depicting Usagi and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
Turtle
Nice.
soup and rabbit stew.
Yep.
Shell
That
shock
sounds right.
featuring
Okay,
me.
now I remember it. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So 86 is when that started
Quick-
happening.
Quick
Yeah,
little
I've been
side
reading.
note. I really like the character of Gen in this show,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm starting to realize that I might like Rhino characters in every show because I'm just now remembering that my favorite character in Beast Wars was Rhinox.
That's because Rhinox was fucking
Rhinox was
badass.
fucking righteous. He was cool. And they did him dirty in Beast Machines.
Yes, they did.
Fuck. Anyway, sorry.
I don't know any of this.
Dude, Beast Wars was so good. Anyway,
Just don't. It'll break your heart.
yeah.
Just
So.
don't.
That's my favorite thing.
All right.
Just go watch more Wong Kar-wai movies. Then it's fine.
Oh man, I missed the chance to go see In the Mood for Love at the Hollywood.
I deliberately didn't take that opportunity.
I was like, what better way? Everyone says I should watch this, and that sounds intriguing, and it's going to be on the big screen, but I could not. Alas.
The first time I saw In the Mood for Love was on the big screen. It was actually at the Fifth Avenue Cinemas on the PSU campus.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was god damn that movie.
I might just cave and.
But yeah,
it.
it's so good, Bean. It is so good.
Yes.
I
don't
can
wanna
I can
oversell it,
tell it's.
but it
I can
is
tell
so
it's going to be
good.
so depressing, and I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm. You're not wrong. But yeah, the characters from the Usagi or the Samurai Rabbit cartoon are future versions of their cartoon or their comic book counterparts. The thing that keeps throwing me that I don't like, and this is really nitpicking. I don't understand why Kitsune's tail is her hair rather than it being her actual tail.
Oh my god, I didn't notice.
Yeah,
Fine, let me find a picture.
it's her fucking ponytail, and it looks weird.
look at it
Kids
now.
animation, man. As it is, like 3D animation is often like it's really hit or miss for me.
Right.
Like it's that's the one design note that I would give back, and like, no, just I if you're worried about kids looking at her ass because it's on her, because it's where it's supposed to be, just live with it and put her tail there where it's supposed to be.
Oh, yeah,
and
I
not on
didn't-
the back of her head.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that is weird.
It's not like she isn't wearing pants. There's no reason to like.
But now I have to go back through and look at the comics because I don't think any of the characters have tails. Which is weird, I know, but like their heads are animals, the rest of their body is human looking.
So does anyone have a tail?
I don't think they
Because
do.
I'm not finding a frontwards picture.
No, I'm
or
looking
a
at pictures of
backside.
Kitsune in the comic. She doesn't have a tail either.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's Chizu. What's her
Gen.
name? No,
Gen
the cat,
and
the cat
Chizu.
one. Chizu.
Chizu.
Okay. I'm not finding enough pictures of her. Oh my gosh! Also, you can a picture just reminded me that at some point you're gonna get introduced to one of those like snub nosed cats, where like their faces are all smushed in, but they're really big and fluffy, and so like the costume, the body is very lithe and petite looking, but then you've just got this like big old pom pom, like a fucking cotton candy on a little cone. It's fantastic.
Eric and I lost our shit at that reveal. It was so fucking funny on screen. Oh my god, it's great.
So I did a quick little just like random group picture search of all of Stan Sakai's Usagi characters, or a big chunk of them.
Mm-hmm.
The only one who's drawn with a tail is the pet dinosaur.
And he's not a dinosaur. He's a Tokage.
Right. Yeah, that's the only character with a tail.
And those are animals. I that's got to be the thing. It's if you're an animal, then you still have a tail.
Look, it's still weird for me sometimes when you see pig characters in the comic eating pork belly. Like, it's weird, man.
Yep.
I don't think it is, because don't pigs eat like anything?
They do, but it's still
Including
weird.
meats.
Oh yeah, no, pigs eat anything. That used to be a
Mhm.
great way to dispose of a body, which you can still do in Red Dead Redemption 2, which is hilarious.
I mean, it's effective.
Yeah, we all saw Deadwood.
Deadwood, that's the one I was thinking.
Yeah, that's the one that really brought it out to people. But yeah,
And
no, pigs will eat
Snatch.
anything.
Also,
Oh, and
Manhunter.
Snatch. Yeah, that's right. What I'm saying is, it's weird to see like a pig character in Sakai's comics specifically order,
Tonkatsu.
tonkatsu. I am so hungry, you guys.
Yeah, that's why I've specifically left that out in the game, because I don't like there's no eating pork.
Although I think my character noticed one of your characters, one of the NPCs is named Tonkatsu.
No, his name is just Katsu.
Oh, Katsu. That's right. My character almost made like food. You're named after food.
Well, katsu is when something is breaded and fried.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, which he's going to be when I'm done with him.
Katsu.
Or more likely when I stick the samurai on him. Because I'm not a fighter.
I'm not an attack dog. I'm not even a dog.
Also, he's your nemesis. He's not anyone else's.
I know. It's awesome.
Little
sorry.
Little BTS listeners. Aaron's character in the game pissed off an NPC to the degree that he went from being a completely throwaway character that was supposed to die in the first fight that they had, and he is now an arch nemesis for Aaron's character.
Yeah. That's right.
Like, you essentially used vicious mockery twice. And that is not something that even exists in this game.
And he'll do it again.
Of course he will.
So what happens when I play a character who's a combination of the thief character from 13 Assassins and Lando Calrissian?
Mm-hmm. And a fox.
And is also a fox. Yes.
Is also a fox.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, listeners.
That's all right.
Although I feel like we could do an entire episode one day of all of us just telling our RPG stories. That'd be kind of fun.
Oh, that would be, because I'd like to. That would be fun.
My memory's not good enough for that.
Mine are all centered around stuff that I've done with you guys.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I think that would be a good way to kind of talk about other RPGs that we're into and why.
We should plan that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, back to Samurai Rabbit.
Yep. If
It's
you're
a
looking
fun
for,
show. I don't
yeah.
know if it's for me, but it's a fun show, and I'll still catch it.
I would highly recommend everyone at least give like the first 3 episodes a shot. Because the first 2 give you a general idea, and the 3rd episode gives you the real, like, oh, this is what they're after, and has one of those lessons that they have in kids shows that you're like, oh, okay, that's a good life lesson to learn.
I did like.
Oh
that
yeah,
too.
you're right. As I got to part of the 3rd episode, but I didn't finish it. But yeah, that begins the story, the overall story, and yeah, you can see where that's gonna go.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap up, I don't know, Bean, if you had a chance, but I know Cable and I saw the She-Hulk trailer that came out. So,
Oh no, I didn't. But that's okay. We can still talk about it.
yeah.
I'll just sit here quietly.
I my first thing about it is I love the fact that we have the full title of the show now, which is She-Hulk, Attorney at Law.
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
It's so good. Yeah.
Like that in and of itself tells you exactly what show you're gonna get.
I have to remind myself of who plays her, and it's
Tatiana Maslany.
yeah, which I remember from Orphan Black.
Yep. That's what
Um,
everyone remembers her from.
Yeah, well, great show, and she was phenomenal in it. It has Jamia. They haven't shown her yet, but Jamila Jamal is playing Titania, which is
Mhm.
that's pretty cool. Mark Ruffalo's back as quote Smart Hulk.
Mhm.
And Tim Roth is the Abomination / what's his real name? Lebonsky? That's
Emil
never-
Bronsky.
Emil Bronsky. Yeah, that's it.
And we actually get to see both the Abomination and Emil Blonsky
Mhm.
in
We
the
do.
episode, in the trailer. So like Tim Roth is in the scene. It's like, oh hey, so we actually get to see both of you.
Yeah. And I don't know if I mentioned this cable before the show, before you logged in. I don't know if they'd said this beforehand, but on the official announcement today, Wong is in the series also.
Huh.
So that's pretty cool. It looks
The-
super fun.
The duties of the Sorcerer Supreme are never ending.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure it's going to have its serious moments, but this feels like a more lighthearted show, which I'm kind of here for.
It does.
You know, I mean, has Marvel done like a light show on Disney Plus? I can't. WandaVision maybe started
Hawkeye.
light.
Started out.
Hawkeye. Okay.
Yeah, they started. No, they went trauma,
Mhm.
trauma, Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
and then back
With-
to and then
with-
back to
with
trauma
Trauma
with Moon
Light.
Knight.
there's kind of trauma in that, but you're right. It's more of like a fun, dealing with mobsters story.
Yeah, with Hawkeye and his trauma, like the backstory that we always got with Clint was that he's been doing this longer than he was ever an Avenger.
Yeah.
And he knows how like dealing with PTSD is part of his job. Whereas Wanda Maximoff, Bucky Barnes, Sam Wilson, and Loki all need fucking therapists.
Yes. He's not in the trailer, but it looks like William Hurt will be back, which makes total sense.
Oh, the late
That's-
William Hurt.
Yeah, so maybe it's flashbacks. That they're
Probably.
using old footage of him, maybe.
Hmm.
They show the cast, but some of them they are specifically not listing their character, so those are probably meant to be surprises.
Mhm.
Sure.
So I don't know. It looks cute. It was me kind of showing, I guess, my oldness. It's weird to see something advertised on Disney Plus to have a character say your ass looks great, and even though
Mhm.
it's a perfect line for it and for the scene and for the character, it still is weird for my brain to go like, "Bleh." That's all.
I'm going to just automatically assume that is a line either spoken by or directed to Jamila Jamil. Maybe both.
Neither.
Incorrect on both.
Ah, man.
It's a random woman we don't know spoken to She-Hulk.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. No,
Yeah.
I'm not mad or
Yep.
disappointed.
Yeah, they don't shy away from showing She-Hulk in this, so
Mhm.
you get
Yeah.
to see what Maslany's She-Hulk looks like, and it's like, oh, okay, they did the same thing that they did with Ruffalo. So
Yeah.
we get a Maslany Hulk, She-Hulk, the same way we get Ruffle Hulk.
Yeah, no, it works really well. I am curious how they're going to use their powers, because they're kind of hinting that the Banner family, as it were, have something in their DNA that makes them susceptible to gamma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But I did.
Sure.
What is it? He says you have to pull your power from. He says we channel our power from. Was it fear and anger.
Mm.
Is that what he
Mhm.
tells her? And she's
Yes.
like, I'm a modern woman. That's my only way I operate anymore.
Ugh.
Like that's. Yep.
I was like, okay. But it looks cool. And I'm always a sucker for the scenes when they grow and you see them burst out of their shoes and like just
Mhm.
little nerd stuff like that. Little cheeky at the end, which I kind of appreciated because it goes about She-Hulk trying to use dating apps, about how much dating sucks in the modern world. And then it ends with her meeting a guy where the date's clearly going well because he's like, let's split a plate of fries. And she's like, how about we do that back at my place? And he kind of smiles. Then the next scene is in full She-Hulk mode. She's just picking him up and walking towards the bedroom. I was like, that's cute. Okay. And he's totally there for it. He's like, woohoo. You know,
Mhm.
it's not he's weirded out by it. He's like, awesome.
It's like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah. It looks really cute. It looks fun.
Which is all I have ever expected from She-Hulk. Like her comic has famously broken the fourth wall for years.
yeah, it has.
That's part of the what made her fun and famous,
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it looks fun.
I think the show is going to be great.
Yeah. And then after that one, because that's August 17th, I believe, is when we're
Mhm.
getting it. Are we getting Miss Marvel before that?
I believe so.
I think so.
I'm trying to remember when that's supposed to drop. But
Also, God, we're only a week away from Obi-Wan, aren't we?
oh yeah, that's next week, dude.
Oh, jeez.
Mhm, mhm.
Oh, so much goodness. June
Miss
8th, Brad
Marvel,
said.
June 8. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, that's the new release date for Season of the Bruja issue 3. Just FYI.
Hey!
Noted.
FYI, everyone. Yeah. Found that out today. Whoop. Is that the show?
I think so.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Marvel, I think it's Ms. Marvel, and then it's Thor: Love and Thunder,
Yeah.
or I have those flip flopped, and
No, here,
that means
I have it. Miss Marvel, June 8. Thor, Love and Thunder, July 8.
okay,
Oh, that's
and
it,
then
that's all I got.
She-Hulk in August.
And then I think at the end of the year we get Secret Invasion starting. I think. So who knows? But yeah, it's a good time
Kevin
to be.
Feige.
Yeah, that's true. And Samuel L. Jackson. Well, with all that shenanigans, I'm Aaron Duran.
I'm being Rita.
And I am Cable Hashitani.
We will talk to everybody next week. Bye, everybody.